I'm Dr. Orion Taraband, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is why women don't apologize. I am 40 years old, and I think I can count on one hand the number of apologies I've received from women in my life. And that does not mean that I've only had relationships with honest, well-behaving, high-integrity women over the past 4 decades. What it does mean is that women seem to find it very hard to apologize for bad behavior. And this is too bad for 2 reasons. In the first place, apologizing for something you did wrong is like an interpersonal slam dunk. Almost everybody will forgive you for being wrong. Not everybody will forgive you for being right, but almost everybody will forgive you for being wrong, especially if it means that it makes the other person right. And in the second place, apologies just seem to matter more to men. And using words to solve a relationship problem is actually a very easy and inexpensive solution, all things being equal.
Guys, welcome back again to another YouTube video. My name is Ike. If you're new, welcome to the channel. He made a couple of points there. I'm still going to complete this clip, but he's talking about why women don't apologize. And he said he can count on his finger how many apologies he's actually gotten from a woman. So yeah, I found that a little bit interesting because this is huge. Women do not actually apologize.
So ladies, one of the best ways to earn respect and raise your estimation in someone else's mind is to admit wrongdoing when it's appropriate.
Admitting a wrong is actually powerful. It shows accountability. It shows responsibility. It shows ownership. It's absolutely important to a man. That is what he's saying here. But a lot of women would never apologize to you for wrongdoing.
And of course, to not apologize where there was no wrongdoing and the other person just disagrees or disapproves of your actions. The reason why it is so hard for women to apologize is that there seems to be a difference in what men and women consider to be the problem. From a man's perspective, the problem is some behavior for which he believes the woman to be at fault. And as a consequence of that behavior, he is now angry and upset. The behavior is the problem, and the emotional response is the consequence. And in his mind, the solution to this problem is acknowledgement of fault and behavioral change. And I don't think that's how a lot of women see it. From a woman's perspective, the problem is not the identified behavior. The problem is that the man is angry and upset.
For a man, the logical thing is that something has happened and I have a response to it. So there's a behavior that you have shown to me that I do not desire, or that the relationship doesn't desire, and that I believe is wrong, and that you should believe as well that that behavior is wrong. And the man consequently has a response to it, maybe an emotional response, a withdrawal response, whatever it is, because a problem, something has happened, and he has a reaction to it. He's saying that for the women, the problem is not what happened, but the reaction to what happened.
And as ridiculous as that might seem to a man, there's actually some validity to this perspective. Like in a court of law, a breach of contract by itself is generally not actionable. You have to also prove that some harm resulted as a consequence of the breach. No harm, no foul. So it's the harm, the anger and upset, that is the foul from this perspective. And in her mind, the solution to this problem is changing the way he feels.
Your understanding of women can actually help you. It can help you deal with yourself, deal with them. What makes sense to any man, what makes sense in any situation is that when something happens, there's a response to it because we are humans. If even with an animal, if you attack an animal, it's going to attack you back. If an event happens, there's a consequence to that event. The problem for women is the consequence of the event, not what happened. It's a little bit controversial for a lot of men to actually accept that. I'm feeling it for a lot of you guys right now. Like as I'm saying this, I'm feeling it because how can somebody not see the event, like the problem, the actual problem, but they see a reaction as the problem. They see the way you respond. That's why when you have an argument with your partner and you are telling her something, and then the next thing it seems like she's not getting it or not admitting it or not apologizing to it, and then you have a reaction. You speak some way, or you walk out or something. That becomes the problem for her. Why are you angry? Why are you walking out? Why are you behaving this way? Is it because of this, is that? It becomes the problem.
If she can succeed in modifying the man's emotional response, then on some level, that would solve the problem. And that's why you encounter the kind of interpersonal strategies that you do with women in relationships under these circumstances. Rather than apologies and accountability, you typically see a number of emotional coping strategies, like trying to cheer you up, or making your favorite meal, or sending you a funny meme, or simply allowing enough time to pass for everything to blow over. All of these are strategies to reduce the man's felt experience of anger or upset. Do you understand? Women also notoriously use sex in this manner. Many years ago, I was out for a drink with a woman I was dating, and she decided to take something that I said very much the wrong way. She quickly escalated, and within seconds was crying and critical and withdrawn. It was fairly early in the dating process, so I was taken aback by how quickly this had escalated. However, as is my way, I didn't argue with her and gave her some time and space to emotionally equilibrate. Later that night, rather than apologizing for imputing to me something that I didn't intend, or owning up to the disproportionate intensity of her emotional reaction, or even acknowledging the episode at all, she just came into the room, took off all her clothes, and kind of laid herself in front of me.
The pride and the lack of actually admitting one's own fault and using other means like sex to try to resolve the problem is not due to their actual lack of understanding of the issue. It's due to the way they perceive the issue. I'm trying to phrase that very particularly. So the way a woman ends up understanding what the problem is, based off of the description that we've given earlier, she's understanding your reaction as the problem. So she's using those methods to stop your reaction, to make you feel happier. She's not actually going to admit the initial wrong or the initial problem, because how she's perceiving it is that that's not the problem, but that is her responsibility to make you happy. She believes fundamentally that your reaction is the problem, so she has to use other means to get you to feel better, to resolve your emotional, the way you are reacting. And she employs the method of sex to do that, to get you feeling better.
The feeling I had was that she was offering sex as a kind of peace offering to assuage my hurt feelings, rather than apologizing for her bad behavior. And in that moment, I unfortunately lost a lot of respect for this person because of what her behavior seemed to imply, that if I could be distracted with a bit of sex, then we could all just move forward as if what just happened didn't happen. And I got up and slept on the couch in another room. That's an example of how women apologize with sex. So, men, if you're expecting an apology from your woman, I would advise you not to hold your breath. On the other hand, ladies, I would highly encourage you to consider apologizing when appropriate. Why? Because men respect people who take responsibility for themselves, and men very rarely receive apologies from women.
A man would respect any woman who actually owns up to what she has done, who actually takes a look within, introspect, and admit and apologize. He just said that men rarely get apologies. Men rarely get apologies from women. And imagine when something is very rare and you actually receive it. That means that it means much to you and you will do anything for that person. When you see a woman who is actually accountable, responsible, owns up to to a mess or to something that she's done, and actually vocalizes it by saying, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. Instantly, you see most men, their reaction will change. They will have a swift change in mood. Men do not know how to sustain that height of annoyance and agony for a long time. If you're a man doing that, I would advise you, go work on yourself. You shouldn't be angry and so annoyed and pissed off with your woman for so long, except she's done something so heavy, like something so intense that you can't even, like, yeah, there's no remedy to this. But you don't want to be that. And even then, you want to still calm down, make a good decision, judge the situation carefully, and come up with a good conclusion on how you should approach that situation going forward. I implore you, if you're a woman watching this video, you must learn how to relate with a man. You must learn how to relate with your man. It's absolutely vital that you know that men have a fundamental to them, which is there's a problem, I have a response, we need to tackle what the problem is. The problem is not my response. I will have a response. If something is not going well, I will speak about it. If something is not we're not meeting each other's needs here, if my needs are not being met, if something is missing, I will speak about it. I will call you to, if you misbehave, I will call you to order. I am not going to be a simp. I'm not going to be a nice guy. I will definitely put you in place and put you in order and tell you what the problem is. You don't want to be that kind of man who avoids conflict with your partner. Don't ever do that. And I'm not saying be embattled with her all the time. No, if it's necessary, you speak to her about something that has happened, that she's done, that you believe is wrong. And she has to apologize for that. But if she doesn't, you must know that is your reaction that has become her problem. This is an unending loop, because what happens is the man would even initially be calm and seek that apology from his partner. Obviously, you're not asking for it, but the way you speak and the way you that's all you need to hear, and you feel better. But then she's never going to say it and will want to prove herself right. And then the loop continues until now you get annoyed and angry and walk away or speak some way or react. Now, the problem changes instantly. In fact, for her, that was never even a problem. The problem now becomes your reaction. She's looking for you, something in you to blame. The way you react, the way you start speaking becomes the problem instantly. And that's what she's going to focus on. And that becomes an unending cycle. A man simply needs an admission of wrong from his partner.
So this is an easy way that costs you nothing to quickly distinguish yourself from the vast majority of other women in a positive manner in the mind of a particular man. I guarantee that his estimation of you will increase as a result.
Once you as a woman begin to imbibe that culture, not that you don't want to be offending somebody all the time or doing something that's wrong and then keep apologizing. That's just going to look mundane. That's not going to look good. The man might begin to even loathe you. And you don't want to put on that sort of, approach. You just want to know that you do the right thing, you walk in the right. But when you fall, when you do something wrong, when the man perceives something that you've done as not ideal, or when genuinely your conscience, even to a large extent, this is why I speak about the Spirit of God, even the Spirit of discernment. I speak about that a lot, even on my channel. You should have that ability to discern and be honest with yourself. Hey, I've done something wrong. My man doesn't perceive this right. I came home late. He doesn't like that. I didn't attend to our child. He doesn't like that. Like I ran late for an appointment. He didn't like that. Like simple things that a man genuinely would appreciate an apology on, But many women would not do that. They would wait till you have a reaction. And you would have a reaction if an apology doesn't come. And when you get that reaction, she would make the problem your reaction. She will make your reaction the problem. You have to be aware of this. You must be aware of this as a man. You must. Once you're aware of it, it's going to make you handle the relationship better. It's going to make you approach situations better. It's going to make you a better man. It's going to make you know how to handle your partner better. You should be more exposed to these things so that you absolutely have success with your relationship going forward. Guys, this is all I have for you. My name is Ike. If you're new, welcome to the channel, and I hope I see more of you around. Take it easy.